So, yes, then this is only one of the many, thank you, the many systems that are manifesting increasingly signs of dysfunction, where things just don't work anymore. Maybe it worked once, it was fine once, and this is the entire human mind is in that way. The human mind had its place. It was a transition, an evolutionary stage we had to go through, but the products of the human mind, all those things that the human mind produced from its state of disconnectedness with space consciousness, with the stillness, are becoming more and more dysfunctional. So there is the mainstream healthcare system, the pharmaceutical industries, which are producing more and more things and totally dominated or largely dominated by the profit motive. If they found a miracle cure which didn't promise profit, they might not even produce it. And there are all these institutions and organizations and corporations, economic, political, social, educational, universities. There are many, many signs of dysfunction where things just don't work anymore. And that's because we are coming to the end of an evolutionary cycle, which is thought, to be exclusively based in thought. And when you come to the end of an evolutionary cycle, any species that comes to the end of an evolutionary cycle, the end will show increasing signs of dysfunction. And that's the simple reason is that you're approaching the end of a cycle. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the human mind. It doesn't mean it never should have happened. No, it was right. It happened. And what is happening now is also absolutely right. But we have to see, and then the dysfunction is there in every individual. It's not just in the structures, the external structures created by the human mind. In every individual, those who do not now step beyond, as you are, but there are still many who are totally trapped in egoic consciousness. There are some young people, especially those that are born to relatively conscious parents, already are born perhaps with more awareness than we ever had when we were born. But that is still a minority. There are still many young people who are born into the ego-dominated environment and who begin at a very early age to manifest signs of great unhappiness, of impatience, of continuous restlessness, of hyperactivity, of aggression, even violence or emotional violence. So they are in each individual the dysfunction manifests, unless that individual has already stepped beyond, is already going through what humanity is destined to go through as a whole. But this is only, you are the beginning. But it's happening very fast. The Power of Now is read by many, many people now that I could never have foreseen that it would grow so quickly. And so many people respond now. Even that is still a minority, yes, but it's enough. It's growing fast. But we need to see the dysfunction is not only in the external structures, but also within each individual. But it's all manifestation of one dysfunction. It's not just in your field where you work. It's in people, it's in the governments, it's in the economy, it's in the corporations, which are just extensions of ego. Nobody to blame, really. Oh, well, it's a pity. It feels so good to blame the greedy CEOs of these corporations. What are they doing? Yeah, of course they are doing it. It just happens, and you can replace it by any other ego, and they would be doing it. It's the same with corrupt governments. Then they have a revolution, and they say, this is the end of corruption. Finally, the people are liberated. A new government moves in, which just means other egos. And 2 or 3 years later, the same corruption, exactly the same, maybe worse. And so there's the ego's need for more in the corporations. All they're interested in is they don't know what they are there for anymore, except they need to produce more. More. So the dysfunction then is only beginning. On the external level, it's only beginning. And we will see it more and more of many institutions and organizations and corporations not making it anymore. And increasing conflict and violence as the old consciousness is still playing itself out. Increasing disorientation in individual human beings, increasing unhappiness, violence, depression, confusion, madness, identifying with mad mind structures, collective belief systems, whether they be religions or political systems. All that happening, different manifestations of the end of a cycle. And that's fine. It cannot be otherwise. And as that happens, the new is already arising. Within the crumbling structure where you and some of you work, this is very beautiful. Within the dissolving, crumbling structure where things don't work anymore, something new is already arising, and that is your consciousness is there. Whether, to what extent the old structure will have to collapse, and to what extent a transformation from within is possible, so that it changes from within without a total collapse, we don't know yet. It depends from case to case. In some cases, it'll collapse completely before anything new arises. In other cases, a somewhat more gentle transition, although the dysfunction will be there, but a somewhat more gentle transition may be possible as it changes from within. And as those who represent the old consciousness leave, that could happen. So we cannot predict from institution to institution, corporation to corporation, what form it will take, whether there will be a collapse or a transformation from within. All you can know and be responsible for is yourself, this moment, inner space, at this moment, and respond to whatever this moment requires. You will be there as long as you are needed there. And if there comes to be an incompatibility between who you are and the vibrational frequency of your being, as presence arises, the vibrational frequency changes. And if there is the incompatibility becomes too great between the surrounding energy field where you work and the vibrational frequency of your own, then it may happen that you will be chucked out, remove yourself or be removed by life from those surroundings. But if the surroundings are capable of transformation, then you and others who also have gone or are going through that inner transition, then will draw others in too. And you may remain then and as the world around you becomes transformed. So it will be interesting to watch what happens. Don't get drawn into fear, anxiety. You cannot underestimate how vital your state of consciousness is in what you experience as the world around you. What a vital part of what you experience as the world, your consciousness is. How important that is. To such an extent, the Course in Miracles even says, although don't try to understand that statement, when the question is asked, how many people are needed to save the world? The answer is one, and it's you. You are a microcosm of the entire world. So there is that which is within you, that power, that is the power of the unmanifested, the source of all, is infinitely greater than anything in the manifested realm, than any structure in the manifested realm. And some of the structures look pretty big, but it's nothing. They're dust. Dust, well, not really dust, molecules temporarily arranged as certain structures, but nothing in itself. It can crumble just like that, and many of them will. Gone. Communism looked so deeply entrenched that a totally immobile system, and even the people in it, they were all, you could see the presidents of Russia, or the Politburo people sitting there, totally entrenched and immobile. And they seemed to be saying, here nothing is going to change ever. The power structures are so deeply entrenched here, nothing here is going to change. Here we are. And then the armies went by with huge rockets and tanks and soldiers, and they greeted. And when you looked, you said, oh, nothing is ever going to shake that. And within a few years, it crumbled. What was that? Gone. And so you look, and then you can look at all that, whatever humans have produced in the manifested realm. It can look overpowering, but in itself is nothing. Jesus said, there's a little account in the Gospels where they are visiting a town, and the disciples of Jesus say, oh, look at this temple, look at these huge boulders, these huge stones on which the temple is built. And Jesus, I don't think the words have come down to us quite accurately. Jesus said, this is nothing, it's just dust. It can crumble in 3 days. It can crumble in 3 seconds. And so it's so easy to become misled into believing that there is a power out there, and perhaps a power that is too overpowering for you, or a power that is threatening you, or that you couldn't possibly change or do anything about. It's nothing compared to, because that which is within you is the very source essence of all life. You are that. And nothing in the manifested realm can be greater than that. Anything manifested is like a dust of smoke, just or a soap bubble compared to that.